This is Greg Hansen's Video Notebook, brought to you by Domino's Pizza. I'm Star Sports Editor Ryan Finley, here with Greg Hansen. Greg, today we're going to talk about Pac-12 athletic directors a little bit. Sandy Barbour in the news at Cal, their longtime athletic director, depending on who you talk to, was either forced out or resigned late last week. Obviously Arizona State is breaking in a new one in Ray Anderson. Seemingly lots of upheaval here. Is this, to quote the great rapper Notorious B.I.G., is this a more money, more problems kind of thing, or what is it?
That's the 2014 definition of it. I mean, and the mold has been broken too. Mm-hmm. There's really only one former coach who's now an AD in the Pac-12, and that's Bill Moose at Washington State. And now it's just a new format. And like Greg Byrne wasn't an athlete. Pat Hayden's basically the only former athlete who's an AD in the Pac-12 and at USC.
And you could argue that Pat Hayden got that job not because of what he did as an athlete, but because of what he did as a businessman for 30 years before he became the AD.
Respected attorney and TV announcer.
Yeah.
To me, what was an undercurrent of the news with Sandy Barbour being taken away was that the Pac-12 has only had 3 women's athletic directors in history, and they were all basically jettisoned like she was. Barbara Hedges at Washington, who got caught up in the Rick Neuheisel mess. I mean, she was a gymnastics coach at Arizona, among other places. And Lisa Love at ASU.
Volleyball coach?
At USC, and she did not have a good tenure at ASU. It worries me now that maybe the pattern of hiring a female athletic director, people aren't going to be so quick to do it anymore.
Well, and you look at some of the more respected senior associate ADs who are females. I mean, Rocky LaRose, could have been an AD at many Pac-12 schools over the years, but decided to stay here in Tucson. Rocky has retired too. I mean, when you look at kind of the next female athletic director in the Pac-12, I'm not sure if there's a name that you can circle. I mean, even Erica Barnes at the U of A is still relatively new at her job.
Right. That's why it's disturbing to me to see all 3 of them get fired in the last probably 8 years, because now they're going to be reluctant to go in that direction.
If your kid walked up to you one day and said, Greg, I want to become an athletic director, how would you tell them to get that job? Because it seems like you can come at it from so many different directions.
The storybook process is what Greg Byrne went through. His dad was the athletic director at Oregon, Nebraska, and then Texas A&M. He grew up watching his dad and patterned himself after his dad, got the instincts, wanted to do it, learned how to do it. That's why he's so good, I think. He had a model in his living room every day. If you grow up like he did, I mean, you're on your way. You're going to get a shot.
Yep. The great Greg Byrne story that I remember him telling us, Greg, at some point was when he was a kid, he was like 10 or 12 years old, his dad would get the NCAA news. It was this, if you haven't seen it before, very old school, kind of small newspaper that advertised for the most mundane of jobs, grad assistants at small colleges, and that he would read through it like it was his Bible. And maybe that's how you need to do it, is it needs to really matter to you from a young age.
Right. And Oregon, when they hired a new AD 2 years ago, they didn't go after some big name. They went after an auditor, a guy from Ernst & Young, basically, Rob Mullins. He had finally gone to Kentucky and was the money man for them. So maybe it's a new game. I mean, obviously, with all the money, it's a new way.
Sure. This is Greg Hansen's Video Notebook, brought to you by Domino's Pizza. Ryan Finley here with Greg Hansen. Greg, certainly there's more money in the game now than ever before. They're making money on these TV contracts, in these TV networks. There's a legal case going on right now, the Ed O'Bannon suit, that could seriously change the way everybody is paid. You wrote last week about it a little bit. Do you think that the day is coming when athletes are going to be cut a check every year, or is there a short answer solution?
I don't think the day will come. I think they will get more money for their room and board and their medical things, but I don't think they're ever going to get cut a check. And if the day comes where the NCAA says they're going to get a check, then the Power 5 conferences are going to withdraw and form their own union.
Wow. You ever thought you'd see that day?
Never. I kind of hope it doesn't happen. I don't like to see athletes get paid in college.
I think that there's a way to further compensate them for the things that they do bring into the university.
Sure.
I don't know what the right answer is. And that's, to me, what's so frustrating about this NCAA mess is there's not one cut and dried answer that makes everybody happy.
Yeah, it's going to be in litigation for a long time.
Administrators, lawyers, unions. Greg, I thought this was sports.
That's what I like about college swimming. You don't hear anything about that.
That's awesome. For Greg Hansen, I'm Ryan Finley. This is Greg Hansen's Video Notebook. We'll see you next time.
At Domino's, we're slowing down to make our handmade pan pizza the right way, taking our time to hand press the fresh dough into the pan, adding 2 layers of cheese, and slowing our ovens down to get the crust golden and crispy. So try a Domino's handmade pan pizza with 2 toppings for just $7.99.